Hey y'all, welcome to the Spiritual Speakeasy, where the bar is always open and all spirits are always served. So we had our guest cancel out tonight. She had some plans, was out of town, shit happens, so we're moving on. Wanted to talk a little bit about this last weekend. Had a great investigation. Two of them spent time with my grandson, which I was extremely happy about. Got to bring him to his first investigation because Chris was sick. And tickets are expensive and hotel rooms are too, and you can't just like back out of those things. So ended up bringing my grandson Colton. And we had an absolutely amazing time. We both have paranormal hangovers. It's his first chance to experience what a paranormal hangover is like. And so he's now just kind of hanging around trying to process his weekend. We had a very, very busy weekend. We drove up. Hi, guys. Come join us. We went to Ray County first. It was a donation event by Haunted Souls. So all the proceeds went to Ray County, which I love doing events where 100% of the money goes to the historical place to preserve and to, fix up and do the things that it's needed to be done to manage. That to me is always super, super cool. And granted, money has to go for expenses, travel expenses, hotel rooms, things like that. Because anybody who's leading investigations with groups knows that it costs money, and some people aren't aware of the amount of money it actually costs to be able to run an event. But this was a donation event, so that was super, super cool. Never been to Ray County. Colton got to do his very, very first Estes session, which was phenomenal. He rocked it in true form. He rocked it. Very much a gift or a gifted kid, able to see things, could hear some things, tapped into some things. And I was very excited for his experience. Ray County definitely did not disappoint. It was super, super cool. Very, very happy about the attendance. We had people from all backgrounds. Some of them, it was their first or second investigation. That's always cool to have newbies in there. And we had a lot of stuff going on. There was some cool stuff going on. A lot of interesting rooms at Ray County. Historical rooms, historical equipment, things like that, as well as a lot of activity, a lot of residual, but some actual Class A hauntings as well. Very intelligent responses, which was super, super neat to investigate. We met Brandy and Bella there. They had some friends. Bella brought some friends along. It was really great meeting them again. And Vinci got to investigate with Colton as well. That was fun. So the next day we kind of hung out and tried to get some rest and clear our heads and go into another night of investigations. And so for those of you that are investigators, 2 nights back to back is always a little more stressful. And I think bringing a 12-year-old along on an investigation was a new thing for me. Trying to hold space, because I do that for the people that come with me. I hold space for them and keep them protected as well as myself. And again, for those of you guys that know me, I'm really big on kind of rushing in and just jumping in with what I see and what I feel. And I don't always, I'm not going to say I don't think before I rush in, but I can be cleaned up pretty easy and pretty fast. So I don't always worry about the consequences. And I was very, very concerned throughout the entire 2 days of, is this something that I really want to make contact with? Is this something I need to make contact with? Is this something I want to ignore? Because I did have a minor with me. And I don't know how y'all feel about investigating with kids. I think kids are going to be our future. And I think those that have gifts need to learn how to properly use those gifts and not just be thrown into a world of shit. Because, some of us started out watching Zach Bagans and the Warrens and those people investigate. And our experiences were, Hollywood type experiences. When we didn't have the training, we didn't know what was real, what they had made up, what was safe, what was not safe. And so, raising the kids now to go in and think in terms of safety and think in terms of preparedness and think in terms of grounding and energy work and things like that kind of sets a whole different vibe for the paranormal world. But that's our future. And if we don't raise the kids that have those gifts into it, then we aren't going to have a future. And yet there are a lot of young people coming up that are writing books and they're doing investigations, and that's good. But the younger ones don't have that. And I think we need to start them early so that they are able to be more prepared, and have a better idea without getting thrown into it with, feet first into the frying pan and really have no idea what it is that they need to do, because that is a whole thing. I know when Chris and I started out, we watched TV, we followed the shows, and we really didn't know what was what. And you didn't know what was real, you didn't know what wasn't real. And to not know that kind of thing is kind of scary. And so trying to make a better entrance for my grandkid to be able to get in and test the waters and not be scared. Fear is good, but not to the point where it's debilitating. Healthy fear of things and objects and knowing your boundaries. And I think that was the super coolest part of the whole thing, was he was able to step up and say, this is not a comfortable room for me, and I choose at this point in time, I'm too tired to go into that and deal with that. So knowing your boundaries was even more cool than anything, and the ability to express that at 12 and with adults and not feel the pressure to do something that he was not comfortable doing made me really, really proud. The second night we investigated Glore. So I'm very familiar with the psychiatric equipment there. The bath of surprises, the water baths, the spinning wheels, what I call the torture chambers, the temperature, the fever inducers, the EEG machines, the electroshock therapy, the lobotomy equipment, and things that the patients had made too, were very, very much a part of that. We had some darkness in the tunnel. We were allowed to go into one of the tunnels. There was some dark things in the tunnel. Notice I did not use the word demonic. I feel differently than a lot of people about demonic, but darkness is a word. It's very valid. It was a darkness that had been fed and was continuing to feed. It was exciting. It was cool. We touched base with a lot of residual things. Again, residual things in people are not active, intelligent. It's a repetition of energy that was very powerful during that particular time, pacing patients, straitjacket patients, things like that, which you would expect to have in a psychiatric facility because their energy is so disruptive and strong. That was cool. I met a dead woman who she initially appeared with a white mask, white bag over her head that was tied, and she was shifting. There was some kind of phasing in and out, shifting going on with her neck and head. I hate to say that it looked like what you see in the movies, but it kind of looked like what you saw in the movies. And she was trying to get my attention, and I went down to communicate with her because she is of the dead. She was not anything negative. And she wanted to tell me her story. So when Bella was done, I went further down and sat and did an Estes with her. And she was very reluctant to pull her spit sock off. It was not a hood. It was a spit sock, which for those of you that have not been in mental health, it's a very white mesh, tight knit mesh hood that's breathable that goes over the patient. This one was full from top of the head. It was like a sack, went over and comes down, and you can draw the string, but not up under the chin. And the whole purpose is so that the patient is snapping at you or biting at you or spitting at you. It stops in the mesh and goes back on them and doesn't go into your eyes and your mouth and your mucous membranes. So it was a spit sock. And I did convince her to remove the spit sock, and she was in death state. She was quite decomped, kind of nasty, putrid, but she had been stomped in the face and kicked in the sides. Post-mortem was the story she gave me. So, I'm sharing this now because part of the reason that she showed me that was that she really wanted me to see what was going on and what had happened to some of the patients there. Now, I don't know whether another patient did that. I don't know whether a staff member did that. That was not communicated to me, and I will not make assumptions on that. But I think it's really important to know that these patients all had stories, and there were some awful things that were done to those patients in the name of science. That was not one of them. The equipment and stuff that's there is all that was considered modern day for its time, just like the clubs and the tape wrapped things, items that were used to knock them out or to inflict some kind of altered brain state or swelling of the brain was used to alter a behavior pattern because they didn't know how else to affect the brain waves, which sounds really horrendous. But understand, you can't study the brain unless a person's dead. Now we can do EEGs and we can do neuroscans. We have MRIs, we have CAT scans, we have equipment like that, but we did not have those in the early mental health days. And so they were doing the best they could in that moment. Anybody have any questions? I know that I'm covering stuff pretty fast. I am open for any question. It does not have to be about Ray County. It does not have to be about Glore. But I'm open to questions, and just post those, and I will be more than happy to answer those. It was really nice to see paranormal teams that played nice together, ask other members that they did not know to go along with them on investigations. That was super cool. Kudos to those people who reached out and wanted to work with other teams. That is so cool. I love that people will play nice together in the sandbox. That's important to me. I also like the fact that there were kids there. Colton wasn't the only kid there. There were several kids at each event, and I thought that was tremendous too, because I think that it's important, like I said, to bring the youth into this, but they need to be assisted and they need to have that conversation that goes along with that assistance. I don't know whether that took place on anybody else's end or not, because I was focusing on the one that was with me. So that being said, that was super cool. What else did I like about it? Air conditioning is always a blessing. It was 100 degrees. We had super high humidity. Ray County was air conditioned on the bottom and got a little warm on top, but it was nothing where it was not even close to being outside in the heat investigating something that had no heat or air. So I was grateful for that. Glore was very cool all the way through, which I liked. It was very breathable and cool. Going to institutions and houses that don't have good ventilation system and are kind of in disrepair, it's nice to go places that have been kept up and are welcoming, that are historical places. That's a really nice investigation right there. Everybody was cool. We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of different people, different types of people, first-time investigators with very seasoned investigators. And that's always a good blend too, because everybody was willing to share what they saw, share what they knew. What else? I had my first experience to get to go on the into the body box, the freezer unit. Got to lay on a tray and got to be slid into the refrigerator unit for the bodies, the holding areas. And I thought that was going to be really scary. I thought it was going to be intense. I thought it was going to be intense with EVPs, and I thought it was going to be or communication, and I thought it was going to be intense just for me. And surprisingly enough, as soon as the door went closed, I was very much at peace. I could have taken a nap there. Everything stopped talking. The device kept going, but the thought forms, the stress of the day kind of went away, and that was a very unusual feeling for me, to have complete calmness. And it really was as if, like, it's done now. Like, the finality of being on that metal tray and being slid in and the door shut was almost welcoming, and it was very peaceful. Did not expect that reaction. Got to lay on the autopsy tray as well, our autopsy table, and that was a trip. The energy was weird on that one, and a little different to handle. A lot more static than going into the cooler unit. So that was my experience with that as well. And the people that are watching right now, if you've been to Ray County or you've been to Glore Psychiatric Museum, Glore had a whole lot of other stuff. I had never been there. I'd never taken a virtual tour. While it was the museum, I had been there on the job things when I was a mental health nurse. So it was very different. It had a different feel to me. They have many, many museums there. They have a Black History Museum. They have things brought over from all other countries, dolls, sculptures, paintings. There's Civil War, Iraq, Vietnam, the World Wars, and they have a room for each one of these museums on top of a Native American museum, crystals, oddities. They had like mutated starfish and things like that you wouldn't see. So they had a lot of things preserved in there and a lot of things that have been gifted to the museum. It's arranged really, really nice. They do have elevators if you're handicapped, so you don't have to do all the stairs, which is amazing. So, and it was very clean, very neat, and very, very well organized. The guy who runs the museum and sets up the displays is very proud of what he does, and he keeps it very nice for the public, and it's very well organized. So that was super, super cool. And it was super cool for that to be Colton's first paranormal experience in two museums that were very well run, very historically documented, with things in order and not disarray, because it makes going in so much easier when you don't know the history and you don't know what's going on, to be able to walk in and have things so nicely organized. So shout out to Ray County and Glore. You guys really have a nice facility, and for what they charge for it, I mean, fucking amazing. It's cheap. It's cheap to get to tour through there. Ghost hunts are not as cheap when you go with a team, but there's benefits to going with a team too. You get to learn how other people do things. You get to try out different methods. I've never been on a team thing where they didn't show you different methods and kind of orient you around to the building, and you get to try different equipment that you may or may not have. Things like that are always fun. And then they go over just some different ideas and different things. So that's always a learning experience. And even when you are a seasoned investigator, to get on and do the little tour things with them, and there's always something every time that you see or hear that you didn't know before. We were laughing because of years of doing this, and this is the first year we've run with body cams, Chris and I. One of the funniest things was Frankie was up there doing his spiel, and he said, and don't forget to turn the body cams off when you go to the bathroom. Now, that seems like a stupid thing to have to tell people, but I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, okay, this is the second investigation, and we've used the body cams I can't tell you how many times. And now I'm thinking back, because there's still footage I haven't reviewed yet. Did I turn the body cam off when I went into the bathroom that time? I wouldn't have thought of that. And then Colton looks over at me and goes, I used the bathroom a couple times yesterday. I don't know whether I turned the body cam off. Nice. So, not so bad when you're running your own body cams, but when you're renting body cams from a team, there you go. Because now they got you in the bathroom doing whatever it is you're doing. So Remember when you're rolling cameras through the entire investigation to turn them off when you go into the bathroom. Something I had never thought of. And I'm in total shock that I didn't. So, see, every investigation has its thing that you learn, whether it's spiritual or metaphysical or paranormal, or it's just common sense, because we're not high-tech people. We didn't grow up with this kind of technology. Therefore, I don't think about things like that. Like, oh shit, I'm in a bathroom stall, peeing and left the body cam on. So, and then always review your footage before you put it online, because if you were the one taking a dump while you were on the body camera, that could be kind of bad. So think about that. Whew, what else to go over tonight? What else to go over? Good things. I didn't talk about Wisconsin, really. I did a little bit. Wisconsin was really good the weekend before. Paranormal Rock Down. We met so many good people. That was amazing. A lot of fun. Some crazy things happened there. Absolutely crazy. We brought Theodora, the haunted doll, with us. And she behaved for the most part. There was not any issues from a spiritual or a reaching out standpoint. She didn't like some of the other dolls that were there. Almost brought home another doll. She didn't like her. So shout out to Linda, who actually purchased the doll and took the doll home, and the doll now has a great home. Sally has a good home. It would not have been a good home at my house because it wasn't a match for Theodora. But we had that. Oh, okay. So I could get into when you're at a con of any kind, please don't pick up other people's dolls. Please don't touch their dolls. Please don't interact without permission for their dolls. Just because they're there does not mean that they're wanting to be picked up and interacted with. And please, this is not a haunted place. It is a Paracon table that we have paid for when we go there. Everybody has. Don't assume that you can cross something over out off of somebody's table. There are things that all of us bring to a table during Paracons and shows. They are show and tell items only. Believe you me, those of us that have things have rules as far as crossing over. And my number one rule is, when we go to facilities, every facility will tell you, please do not cross over our spirits. They are ours. No, the paranormal team doesn't tell you, but the owners of the place will say, these are our spirits. This is our land. We will deal with that. Now, a part of me disagrees with that whole phenomena, because if there's a spirit that comes up to me and says I need to be crossed over, I kind of feel committed to doing that. I'm not going to say how that works out at facilities, because, obviously if everybody crossed somebody over, there would be no spirits at that facility. That remains unspoken. But if I have an item on the table that is locked down and I'm showing and telling this, and it's a question and answer type thing, it gets you interacting with me at my table, you don't have the right to come and pick up that item and try to discuss with it its trauma and its need to be crossed over. Please do not go purchase something for my said item because it talked you into it. That happened last weekend too. And that was absolutely crazy. I have never had anybody interact that way. Obviously, Theodora manipulated that situation. Not going to say anything about the mental health of the lady that spent an hour and 45 minutes trying to cross the spirit in there over. Physically demonstrating how you can step into the light. That was a very odd thing. It was very draining. And, I had a friend there that had sat down next to me, and I was like verbalizing my anger to that friend, trying to be as polite and quiet as I could because you don't want to make a scene. You don't want to be that one person that makes the scene. But for the warning, just kind of like for the record, if you're not used to going to cons, paracons, and things like that, and you're watching things like that, you go to them, you've never been there before, ask permission to interact, ask permission to touch for sure, and ask permission to work with. But you shouldn't even ask permission to work with. Like, you shouldn't be working with other people's property. If you want to feel the energy and you want to do those things, definitely ask permission for it. But to actively attempt to cross over someone else's item that has been deemed possessed and not just haunted is another whole thing. Yeah, that was an interesting weekend too. Lots of cool spirits, though, lots of cool activities, and oh my God, lots of cool friends and people. We made a lot of friends. I have not released the videos on that yet. I have not watched the videos. I have not even uploaded the videos on that. So we will get those done this week, and hopefully I will get those put into YouTube, put them into Facebook, and also put them into TikTok. So looking forward to uploading those items for you. So Wisconsin's Paranormal Rockdown is definitely a thumbs up. For vendors, vending, readings and things like that, it was that wasn't the activity that was going on there as much, but the fun that I had in hanging out and talking to people and just networking and socializing was like, 2 thumbs up. It was absolutely amazing. And Haunted Happy Hour, or Haunted, is it Haunted Happy Hour? Yeah, Haunted Happy Hour was there with coffee, and it's bourbon brewed coffee, and it was the best. And we are now trying to set up a line of coffee for the Spiritual Speakeasy. So I'm very excited and happy to possibly be furthering a relationship with the Haunted Happy Hour, because Haunted Happy Hour and Spiritual Speakeasy, they go hand in hand. And I think that will be phenomenal as well. So that's a great show to go to. I don't know if it's yearly, annually, or if it's biannual yet. I was all new to the Wisconsin scene, and really will be back next year. It was really good. That was good. Ray County's good. Glore Psychiatric's good. We have Emmaus coming up on August 16th. That is going to be a full donation thing for Alex. He's a paranormal investigator. He's a nurse, and he has a disease process going on that's keeping him inactive from being able to work and make a paycheck, along with paying his hospital bills and things that are going on. He is a fellow investigator, and so Haunted Souls is running a benefit, and the money will all go to his care and treatment. And, me being a retired nurse as well as being a paranormal investigator, that's a near and dear to my heart. People were so good when my son was sick to donate money to his cause and his treatment. And I just feel like we need to jump on the bandwagon with that. Hang on, I got somebody trying to call me kind of nonstop. Okay, got that taken care of. So, that's coming up. I cannot honestly tell you what else is on our schedule because I haven't looked. I stay 1 week to 2 weeks ahead, and that's it, because I can't remember anyway. So you get to a certain age and you're just kind of like, okay, next week we're going someplace. There's always someplace we're going. So what else is new? Wisconsin's Paranormal Rockdown, Ray County, Glore Psychiatric. It's been a rough week. There's been a lot of deaths. Ozzy died. Chuck Mangione died. I think Hulk Hogan died. There was a couple other actors that died. So a lot of people are in, kind of a field of sadness right now. Shout out, and love being sent to Dan's family. They were in a hard spot. It's always hard to bury someone you love. I've been there several times. It's traumatic, and my heart goes out to my friends out there. I would start listing them, but what's going to happen is I'm going to forget somebody. So just, my East Coast friends, my heart is out, is being sent out to you, and I'm holding space for you right now as well. It's always tough, always tough. And so I know they're feeling pains right now. And then when you get hit with multiple things too, I had an acquaintance of mine overdose Friday morning and did not make it through, was found dead. And that was very hard because, you go through the lists of would have, could have, should have, but in the end, it's not my program to work. And it's all about choices and health, and being aware that there are people out there that are so fragile, like so fragile, and we have to be cautious of what we say and what we do, because though we're not responsible for the fragility of someone, we are responsible for the things that come out of our mouths and what we choose to do and what we choose not to do. And I think it makes us better human beings when we choose to do the right thing, which takes more time, takes more effort, takes more thought, but it's still better to do the right thing. And so, try to use kinder words, try to set boundaries as you need to that are healthy for yourself and for other people. Doesn't mean we walk on eggshells, we work our own programs for sure. But a lot of people that come to paranormal events are overcoming their own illnesses and their own fears and their own trauma. And the paranormal world brings all of that together, because what a better way to face your trauma and your illnesses than through going through a possible paranormal experience where you're dealing with spirits that are on the other side, or whatever your belief system is with that. And so be kind and be aware that it takes all kinds in this field, and we all have strengths and we all have weaknesses, and to put them together in a role where somebody goes, man, I did that. I'd never wanted to go into a dark room, but I was able to walk in there and stay and take part in an SD session, or sit there and wait for that dead bell to ring, or sit there and wait for that EMF meter to go off. For me, that's not a hard thing to do, but for somebody who's had trauma in the dark, that's fucking amazing. That's a huge step in taking back the power and being able to empower yourself and know that you will be able to do those things, and that you are capable in doing those things and being strong. I think that's all really, really important. And I think we need to be aware of that too. So don't be a paranormal snob and not welcome all types of people to the table. We made some really good friends this weekend. Never seen them before, may never see them again, but I hope we left a kind impression. And I know they certainly touched our hearts as well. And don't judge people bringing kids to facilities, especially when the kids are well behaved, because again, they are our future, and that's super, super important. If you have any questions, please post those things, but do understand that after the live recording is over, there is limited amount of attention that is paid to it, because I can't spend all my time online going back and answering questions, but you can DM, of course. There's always the DM. Gosh, wow. We've talked about several different things here, but all paranormal. There's been some shift in the energy lately. I don't know if anybody's felt that. I think we're coming out of a new moon, and that was really a rough ride for a lot of people. There was a lot of deaths, like I said, and celebrities with that. There was a lot of energy shift for people. So people were grumpy, people were anxious. There was a lot of stress people were dealing with. Kind of just off the chart behaviors. So if you were one of those, you were not alone. That was some phenomena that came through with planetary alignments, and I'm not into astrology, so I can't tell you what happened there, but there was some shit that happened there for sure. Affected all of us. And then the heat on top of it. We all know that extensive heat that has a way of driving up things and sending them into a spin. Certainly affects mental status of those of us living. I'm not sure what it does for the spirits, but if it affects us as living entities, it probably has some kind of spirit effect. Haven't looked into that. I know it makes me grumpy. I don't like to be out in the heat. There you go. And from a speakeasy standpoint, I had the best damn old fashioned at Stony Creek Inn in St. Joseph, Missouri this weekend. Oh my God. Best old fashioned I've ever had in my life. So super good. Posted a picture on Facebook of it. It was absolutely beautiful. Tonight's drink is wine. Cheap Chardonnay. Very cheap Chardonnay. Because, I had a trip and that was expensive. Check this beauty out. Check that out. Perfect color. So good. Black cherry. Ice ball. Super, super good. There's that, and that was before I had already had a few sips of it, so it was really a nice size stack there. Me on the mortuary table, or that was the embalming table. So for those of you that don't go on Facebook, there's that. I got my body cam running. We travel around. We do a lot of things with body cams now because it eliminates the need to keep having to set up cameras, and they've got night vision, which makes it super, super sweet. I'm trying to see what else I can share with you because I'm trying to pass time. I'm just kind of blah, 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 blah. Because that's what we do in podcasting, right? We do things like that in podcasting. You got to keep the show going when people call in. Filler music, because I can't put music on, because if you put music on, then you get gigged for music. Stony Creek Inn, shout out to them, man. They got a fucking koi pond. That was super cool. That was neat. And they upgraded our room, and that was super, super nice. I really had a good time with that. I don't usually do pictures of my grandkid online, but there you go. Real quick picture of Colton. Colton was super cool. 12 years old, did a great investigation. That was really cool. This is us going through the museum. Bella and Colton. That was really neat. I shout out to Bella, man. She and her mom had our backs through the whole thing, and that was super nice. Knowing that when you're trying to hold space and you're trying to keep things safe for other people, and to know that you can trust another adult and a teenager to go okay, I've got to go down this hall and deal with this, or somebody has asked me to come go down this hall and deal with this. Can you watch my kid? Can you take him and go entertain him and go do something? And the willingness of Bella to step up and show him divining rods and do stuff like that. That was super chill and super, super cool. And he had I'm telling you, he had such a good time with Bella. And he's like, how far away does she live? Can we go visit Bella? It just warms my heart to know that there's teenagers out there that are willing to interact with 12-year-olds and teach them things. And, to me, that's what community is all about. I tried to get him to come on the podcast, but he was feeling a little shy, and it was also video game time. So, mom or video game, I lost out on that one. So, Chris will be back investigating at the next one. Hopefully he caught something or had some heat issues, and so was just not able to come with us, which was sad because we missed him. But Colton celebrated that because Colton got to go. Any questions? We just had some new viewers join. Hi, come on in to the Spiritual Speakeasy. We're talking about Ray County. We talked about Glore Psychiatric. We talked about Wisconsin's Paranormal Rockdown. Kids in Investigating. Really good old fashions at the Stony Creek Inn. And don't handle other people's dolls, and don't try to cross things over on people's booths. Boundaries, boundaries, and being kind. I'm always going to mention shit like that. I mean, think what you're going to think, but you don't have to say everything that comes to your mind. If you've got any questions you want to ask me while I'm sitting around chilling with my glass of cheap Chardonnay, feel free to type in the link and smash the like and follow button. I have merchandise, really cool. We got to get that stuff up and running. Going to be at Rock Island Paranormal this fall. I'm looking really forward to that. Blondes and Booze. I know I'm doing some more enchanted, metaphysical, and mystic stuff. I just don't know when. And probably going to do a couple days a month at Triple Flame Healing, Angie Butts' studio in Columbia, Missouri. I'll be doing readings there. I do bone readings and Reiki. I also do clearings, body clearings, entity removal, stuff like that. I do private lessons in some various things, Kundalini rebirthing. I work 1-to-1 or 2-to-1. I don't like to work more than 2 people at a time on that stuff. And that's what I do. So if you have any questions, again, feel free to ask questions. Give me a shout out. Tell me who's on. What's your favorite thing in the paranormal to do? What's your favorite piece of equipment? There's a good question. What is your favorite piece of equipment? Mine has become my chair that I carry around with me, because so many places don't have chairs to sit down in after you've done 4 flights of stairs. And also the body cam, although I've got some really cool equipment, that body cam just makes it so much more fucking easy, because I don't have to keep turning it on and turning it off, although I carry around a 50-pound backpack full of equipment. I love my music box, my M-Com, my video camera, if I can figure out how to shift it over to night vision, because I forgot how and couldn't figure it out in the dark this weekend. So know your equipment before you go, because I'm not the person that sets up the cameras. Chris does all that. And I screwed that up this weekend. So my body cam was like super cool, because I know how to turn the buttons on that. That was good. I need a dead bell. I definitely have to have a dead bell. I have the batteries are done. I have Fluffy the cow. He works. He is a trigger object and he lights up. Did not take Fluffy this weekend because I had to handle a 12-year-old along with all of our equipment, and so Fluffy was too much. But if you have any favorite piece of equipment, jump in and just type it in. Favorite place to investigate. You know, we stay in Missouri except for when we go to like the Paracons, the Gettysburg, Warren's Paracon. We've been to Wisconsin now. Looking to do some Paracons, but I also do cosplaycons and I do anime cons. So open to any ideas there as well for either good booths or just a good time. And that's it. Like, man, I got 10 more minutes to kill. Please ask questions. What do you want to know about me? Any questions to ask? Damien's not on tonight. Oh, hi, April. Thoughts on palm reading? Man, palm reading is awesome. I have some friends that read palm with good, really accurate readers. I don't get it. It looks like a fucking road map to me, and I can't read a map or shit. My family knows that. I am not the person to give directions. I look at the lines in the hand and I can hold it up to a graph and it doesn't look like the pictures and I can't figure it out. But I think it's a really neat thing. I think there are very gifted people. There's also the iris readers. They'll snap a photo of your iris of your eye and they're able to go in and they read that in different ways. I know some very accurate iris readers. There's a word for that. I'm tired. I can't think of the word. Aura readers. Aura readers are amazing. The Aura cameras are so cool. Neat tool to use. So, yeah, I am open to any of that stuff. I mean, I think when you have a gift, there's certain things we key into, and yeah, I'm down with that, April. Absolutely down with that. I have nothing. There's always those fakes and flakes in any field. So, be careful who you go to when you're dealing with readers. I'm a bone reader. I have my trinkets and I read on a mat. But, and I have met some really, really good bone readers and I've met some really shitty ones. So there's good and bad in every field. But yeah, definitely palm reading. It's an ancient art. Some of this stuff goes way, way back. I mean, they didn't have tarot cards and oracle cards and the iris reading machines and stuff way back. That's what they did. They had divining rods and pendulums and palms. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for your question. Anybody else or April again? Anybody? Like we got a few minutes to kill, and I'm open. Favorite drink, favorite color, whatever. Whatever. Favorite kind of ghost to work with. Favorite kind of spirit. I like elementals. Elementals for me are exciting and fun. A lot of people won't mess with elementals. I don't mess with them. That was a poor choice of words. But I like to interact with elementals. They're exciting to me. It's something new every time, and I learn something from every interaction. I also am under the thing that like Sasquatches and fairies and gnomes and things like that are elementals. Now, I've got some Sasquatch people that would not say that. And I have some that would, so that's open for discussion as well. That's where I stand. That's where I stand. Not everything's a demon. There are very few demons around. I don't believe in that shit. I'll certainly entertain the idea of negative energy. I think we create our own demons by thought, word, and deed. We manifest it out there and it grows into something big. My take, are there demonics? Yeah, I'm not going to argue that there's not demonics out there. There are possessions out there. There's perfect possessions out there. But they're not in every house and they're not in every investigation and they're not in every person. They're few and far between. Anything else? When you go to a fair, just asking the people out there, when you go to a Paracon or a fair or something like that, what's your favorite thing to spend money on? What do you like to go do? Because it always intrigues me. Every fair I go to, I am drawn to something different. I never go to every rock table. Like some people are into rocks, your crystals and sorry, my nose itches, your crystals and your stuff like that. I don't go to every crystal table. I don't go to every wand table. I do go to the oddities tables. You've never been to one? You need to go. Oh, April, you need to go. My God, some of them are so fun. The readers tables, there's always a lot of readers, so pick them wisely. But the creativity is amazing. And I will skip a lot of the Temu tables. I'm not going to lie. There's people that are vending Temu. I know nothing wrong with Temu. I have vended Temu. It's good. It's easy money making. It's cheap shit. People buy it. They like it. But I like the handmade clothing. You're a dreamer. You like the arts. So there's a girl that I've had on my show before, lady, and she does blood art. She works with she draws blood and she actually makes your own blood into runes and necklaces, and then she also paints with blood. Fascinated with that kind of stuff. Fascinated with clothing lines that people make and design their own clothing. I like oddities. I'm into the death art, the photos of the people that have passed away, the hair art from the people that have passed away. I am into exorcism kits and last rites kits and communion kits that are old, things like that. So I go to the weird tables. And of course, if there's a bar there or there's haunted happy hour, coffee being served there, I am down with that stuff too. I drop a lot of cash at places like that. Bring cash though, because cash is king. It's always nice to spend cash, because then they're your private vendors that make really so little at these events. They go for fun. It's not costing them an arm and a leg with service charges, because your Venmo and your Cash App and your Square all have outrageous service charges on every single thing you purchase. They always have music being played. People are happy. It's just a fun place to socialize. You're in Wisconsin, so we carry the cash. Yeah, did you go to Paracon? I can't see your picture from here. Like, I just literally do not have my glasses on. Did I meet you at the Wisconsin Paracon, the Rockdown, Paranormal Rockdown? Because that was amazing. That Broadhead Manor was so freaking cool. It was really a neat place. Hot. Not going to lie. Not a lot of AC in the place. But I'm kind of bougie when it comes to shit like that. I like my air conditioned. But I'm not unwilling to go to places that aren't. It was in Janesville, outside of Janesville. It's actually in Broadhead, Wisconsin. That's on the border, the Illinois border, coming up like 30 minutes. You're okay. Long ways away. Yeah. We had Wisconsin cheese. We did not have any Wisconsin beer, but we had cheese. That was really good. The weather was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. We left 99 degrees with 80% humidity in Jefferson City, and we arrived and it was 69 degrees and like 40% humidity. I was amazed. Beautiful. So much fun. Spotted cow. I'm telling you, the cheese was amazing. We had so much fun. We had a blast. We were exhausted, but we absolutely had a blast. It was very, very cool. So we'll definitely coming back to Wisconsin. The part we were in had willow trees, weeping willow trees all throughout the country. I am so big into weeping willow trees. It was beautiful. Beautiful countryside. And of course, we came back to 100 degrees and 80% humidity here. It was crazy. Crazy. But yeah, Wisconsin. That's a fun place to go. If you haven't made it to Broadhead, it's neat. It's a very nice facility. They're working on it. 86 here right now. See, we're in the 90s. We're in the upper 90s, and the humidity's high. I just don't like it. I'm not a fan of high humidity and high temperatures. Arizona's completely different. I could move to Arizona and be happy. Someplace cheap, though. It would have to be a cheap place. Well, guys, thank you so much. April, thank you for joining me in the chat. That's been amazing. Nice to meet you. For those of you guys watching, it's been fun. It's been a lot of bullshit. Sorry. Got to fill. I don't like to run reruns. Reruns get old, so I'm always going to come on live when I can. And, entertain people. I don't know. Nothing else. Thank you for listening to me ramble. It's been good. It's been fun. Please stay safe this week. The heat is going to be high in most places. We've got flooding all over. Please, turn around, don't drown. Whatever that saying is, don't drive through the floods. Take it easy. Love one another. Love yourself. You are important. You make a difference. Thank you for joining the Spiritual Speakeasy tonight. I'm Julie, the bartender. Hang out with me anytime. And next week, hopefully, we'll have the part 2 to the Sasquatch with, I just drew a blank on her name. Hello. I am so tired. I'm going to get some food too. So have a good night and enjoy yourself. Enjoy life. And I will see you at 6 p.m. next Sunday. Thank you, April. Thank you, everybody. Rock on. Have a good one.